who benefits from the Christ you worship? Is he the Christ of empire or the Christ of the oppressed? Is he a tool of rulers or the hope of slaves? This is why the church feared Ethiopia. Because once you see the black Christ, you cannot unsee him. Once you hear the forbidden scriptures, you cannot forget them. Once you realize the gospel was bigger, broader, and bolder than empire allowed, you cannot go back to a domesticated faith. So what does this mean for us? If the church suppressed Ethiopia out of fear, then what else has been hidden? What other truths lie buried under centuries of control? And what happens when those truths rise again? Stay with me, because in the next chapter we will reopen the very scriptures. Rome twisted, and we will see how Ethiopia's reading of Isaiah and Ezekiel turns the story of Lucifer upside down. Chapter 12. Rereading Isaiah and Ezekiel. For centuries, two passages have been wielded as the foundation for the story of Lucifer's fall, Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28. Entire doctrines have been built on them. Entire mythologies have been drawn from them. But what if these texts were never about a cosmic angel at all? What if, when read through Ethiopia's lens, they tell a different story? One not of a fallen star from heaven, but of earthly kings and divine testing. Let us begin with Isaiah 14. The famous verse rings in our ears, "How you are fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn." Western tradition seized on one Latin word, Lucifer meaning light bearer, and from that single translation, a cosmic figure was born. But read Isaiah carefully, and the context is clear. This is a taunt against the king of Babylon. It describes a ruler who exalted himself as if he were divine, who boasted in his power, and who was finally cast down to the grave. The fall here is not of an angel, it is of a tyrant. It is not about heaven's rebellion, it is about political arrogance and divine judgment. Now turn to Ezekiel 28. Here we find language that seems almost otherworldly. A figure adorned with jewels walking in Eden, a guardian cherub cast down in disgrace. To many theologians, this became the biography of Satan himself. But Ethiopia's tradition holds a different view. This too, they say, is a prophetic oracle against a human king, the ruler of Tyre. Ezekiel uses poetic imagery comparing him to a being in Eden to emphasize his pride and downfall. The language is symbolic, not literal. The point is not that a heavenly angel was exiled, but that an earthly king dared to claim divine majesty and was humiliated. Do you see the pattern? Both texts, when read in context, are about the rise and fall of human rulers, not a cosmic rebellion in heaven. Ethiopia insists on this plain reading. They do not erase the reality of Satan, but they resist the empire's myth that these verses narrate his ancient fall. For them, these scriptures speak not of a war in heaven long ago, but of the arrogance of earthly powers,